Welcome to Outsider Reviews. My name is Pat. We're just a couple of outsiders doing car reviews weekly, so try to like and subscribe to this video to help us to keep pushing out some content. This week we have the Ford Escape plug-in hybrid. This vehicle will give you 60 kilometers of range or 37 miles just on the battery alone. Sounds great. There's a catch. Stay tuned. We're going to tell you all about it. So the 2023 Ford Escape plug-in hybrid, not to be mistaken with the hybrid. This vehicle comes in one trim. That's it. You get one trim. You do have an option to put on, but which gives you a little bit like extra seat, leather seats and all that stuff. But that's it. You get one trim. What it comes with is a 2.5 liter Atkinson cycle inline four engine, as well as a 96 kilowatt electric motor. What does that give you? It gives you a combined 210 horsepower. A little bit of a surprise there because it was 221 horsepower last year, but I mean, they lost 11 horses somewhere. Don't ask me where they went. One thing that's interesting about the front here as we take a look is it's got a refreshed front, which last year's it looked kind of more rounded off. This year I like that it's a little bit more aggressive looking. I like the blacked out grille. I like the light bar. Now we're starting to see that Volkswagen's doing that. We're starting to see that everybody's got something electrified. They want to display it with a light bar. This is a plug-in hybrid, so gives you, like I said, about 60 kilometers of range on the battery or 37 miles for US. LED fog lights, which is kind of surprising because we just did the Corsair. Go check out that video. We did that last week. Corsair, which is the fancy version of this, and it had no fog lights, even though it's substantial price difference. Now let's talk about price. As far as the price goes, this starts in Canada at $45,000. Like I said, there's a luxury option you can add on, which kind of bumps it up $8,000, which gives you about 53,000 Canadian before delivery fees and whatever dealership fees are going to add on. For the US, it starts at a starting price of 42,000, and you can move up by 6,000 to 48,000 to get this all optioned out version, which we have here today, and this is what we're showing you. Now, for those who are wondering about that price figures that I just gave you, what does that mean? Well, there's a couple more other plug-in hybrids out there. We're going to talk about mostly the Kia Sportage plug-in hybrid and the RAV4 Prime, which is their plug-in hybrid. Now, where does this price up in between those two? Well, actually, right in between those two. It's less expensive than the Toyota RAV4 Prime, and it's more expensive than the Sportage plug-in hybrid. Now, looking at the side profile is, you got 18-inch wheels, which I think is a very good size. The Corsair had, I think, 21s, if I'm not mistaken, which affects your ride comfort. Definitely 18-inch, that's my jam right there. That's where you want to be comfortable. If we keep going off to the side, there's your port. Now, level 2 charging, you're looking at from like 10 to 100%. It's gonna take you about, 12 hours overnight kind of thing. That was level 1. Level 2 charging, it's about 4 hours of charge time to go from 10 to 100%. And like we said, 100% gives you 60 kilometers of range. Now, my personal experience is more like around 55 kilometers of range. So you lose a few kilometers, a few miles, if you say maybe like 35 miles range, but that's basically close enough to what you get. Over here, we don't have approach, unlock, and locking, but we do have, when we put our hands in this, it will unlock and we can open the door. As you can see, that what's shined up over here is the door pad code. So you can access this with the code, which I've never had to, but especially since you can unlock your phone, unlock your car with your phone nowadays, using the Ford app and such, and the keys and everything, and so many sensors telling you if you forget your keys inside. I think we can go without that, but there it is. Brian likes the chrome accent. Brian's behind the camera, everybody, but he likes the chrome accent. I'm indifferent to them. gas. Now the gas is something that you can't just push and unlock because it's got to stay pressurized and because of the hybrid system. So you just push a button inside, get it unlocked, and good to go. I actually like that not everybody can just push and open your cap. So good. Yeah, let's take a look at the back. Now at the back, basically we have LED lighting in the back, Ford badge, and the Escape writing in chrome. We also have our backup cameras and our green license plate telling us that this is good for the environment. Furthermore, we have a trailer hitch. Don't ask me why, this can only tow 1,500 pounds, but if you get just a regular Escape with an Eco Boost, it's 3,500 pounds. I think 1,500 pounds is pretty low, and that's something that Ford should probably work on because you can't tow much these days with 1,500 pounds. Now, it is an electric tailgate. And we do have 37.5 cubic feet with the seats up. We also have some tie downs, which I actually like quite a bit. One thing I don't like a little bit about the back is how this feels relatively cheap. It is just basically a cardboard, not cardboard, but it's just something that slides in and out like this. So I think something could have been done a little bit more fixed, not to have this kind of movement, because you do hear it sometimes when you aggressively accelerate and decelerate. Now, with the seats down, we are looking at 65 cubic feet. Now, to put the seat down, I gotta go in the front. All right, so I'm just gonna put the seats down. You basically have a lever over here. Whoop, there you go. So they don't go flush completely flat. There's a little bit of a bump here with this very high hand sliding platform. So yeah, I mean, the seats go down in 65 cubic feet. That's still plenty of space. Now, sitting in the back seat, Ford said they've been working on this, getting more passenger room for the back seats. We have about 40 inches. I'm 5'9", not the tallest guy, definitely one of the widest though. That's where I grew, more vertical than horizontal. But I have plenty of leg space being at 5'9". Especially like with this seat, it is set to my driving position, and you still would have plenty of space there. You do have a pouch here on the passenger side, and then that's where they quit. They decided not to put one here. I'm a little bit concerned about that. I don't know why. These are handy. My kid puts his tablets in there. Very good. Now, like I said, this does have the upgraded package, which is about $8,000 Canadian or $6,000 US. And it gives you the nice perforated leather seats, and cup holders come standard, but so you get the nice perforated leather seats. But this has obviously cup holders, no pass-through, which I like, but it doesn't have one. USB-A, USB-C to keep your device charged. And if we look at the door here, it's mainly just hard plastic, which I don't mind, easier to clean anyways, and does keep the cost down. Let's go check out the front seat. Now here in the front seat, captain seat, we're gonna start with the door. Just, regular plastic at the door with a flashy metallic panel right there. Regular control for windows and adjustments for the mirrors, as well as your memory settings for your seat. Getting the front here, we get the business end right here. And I like the feel and touch of this steering wheel, the buttons as well. You got your cruise control, you got your volume control, your music selection, and your menu button as well. We have a digital gauge cluster, 100% digital right in the front, where you can see that what's your fuel economy like. Now let's talk a little bit about fuel economy. And so I'm averaging right now 4.8 liters per 100 kilometers, but I did do the majority of this on the highway, which is, a mileage killer as far as fuel economy for a plug-in hybrid. Now, the average is combined is 5.8 liters per 100 kilometers, or 40 miles per gallon for our folks in the US. And I find that I haven't reached that. Even doing mostly highways and driving like I do, for all you police officers listening, I'm not going to tell you what I do, but I am not exactly a conservative driver. So I find that you will likely get on a daily drive, especially when you plug it in overnight and everything, and definitely below 5 liters per 100 kilometers. Getting us over here. Now here's what I don't like. I don't like this little floppy piece of clear plastic which is being used for the heads-up display. The Lincoln Corsair had it right on the windshield, and I think Ford can do that as well while still keeping the same cost. 13-inch screen, definitely a very nice screen to have, and the HVAC settings are on the bottom, but they're like hardwired at the bottom. They don't go away depending on which screen you set. So I find that that's just as good as having buttons and knobs, and I have no problem with it. And I've been recorded in the past saying I don't like having all the controls on the screens, but Ford actually did a really good job, and the infotainment actually is it flows pretty good. You know, from selecting the drive modes and all that stuff. I found that the Lincoln, for some reason, had more lag than this vehicle. Now, this is how you go through your drive mode, which I'm not a fan of. You have a button right here as well. So you click this button and you can select your drive modes from Eco, Sport, Slippery, and obviously Normal. It will default back to normal every time you get out and get back into the vehicle. Very annoying. Ford, please fix that. I don't know. You guys comment if that would annoy you on down below, but that definitely has been known to annoy me because I kind of want to drive in eco mode to save some of that precious money that's spent so much on gas, but it's not letting me because I get too lazy eventually, and I just let it. I'm like, screw it. You want to go on drive on normal? Fine, we'll be on normal. There's my rant. So you got your start button right down here, parking assist, and your cameras as well for your 360 overhead view and your parking cameras. Max defrost button here, which is definitely a good thing to have, especially for us up here in the winter time. You got a wireless phone charger, USB-A, USB-C down here, and 12-volt cigarette lighter. Rotary dial shifter, definitely a fan of the rotary dial shifter. And you have your parking brake and your auto hold button. Now, if you remember at the beginning of this video, I said, great, it has 60 kilometers of battery range, you know, it's great on fuel. There's one catch. Here's the catch. This does not come in all-wheel drive. I'll let that sink in.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
For sure it will next year, or it should, but this year's model does not come in all-wheel drive. It is front-wheel drive only, which is surprising because we had the Corsair last week, which has all-wheel drive, and it's got dual electric motors, and which is great. So I think that's also why this lacks a bit in power. When we're merging on the highway and such, that's where you're going to feel it. It goes 0 to 60 in 7.7 seconds. Now, the Corsair would do 6 seconds or 6.3 seconds. So you can definitely say, you know, that's a second and a bit that you're losing on acceleration. And again, I think it's due to not having those two electric motors or not the all-wheel drive. Which is why it is to note that this car is slower than the Outlander PHEV plug-in hybrid and the RAV4 Prime plug-in hybrid. It's actually slower as well as than the Kia Sportage plug-in hybrid. So if you're looking for this car and just be like, yes, I'm going to beat everybody off the line, this car is not it. And the catch is it does not come in all-wheel drive. I suspect that will change in the following years, but that's the catch. Now let's take it for a drive and I'll give you my final thoughts. After having the vehicle, the Ford Escape, for a week now, about a week, it gives us, I like having the vehicles for a week at a time, and this is what we usually do. We always have the vehicles for a week, and at the end of the week we do our recording, which is today. And now I'm gonna put this vehicle exactly where it actually puts itself, in the middle of the pack. The reason why I'm saying that is it's in the middle of the pack pricing wise. It's not ridiculously expensive. It's not the most expensive plug-in hybrid, and it's not the most affordable one. The Kia and the Hyundais are more affordable plug-in hybrids than these vehicles. However, the Toyotas or a little bit more expensive. There's also the Outlander plug-in hybrid that's in the mix, but at this point I'm just going to focus on the Kia Hyundai, so the Hyundai Tucson, the Kia Sportage plug-in hybrid, and the Toyota RAV4 Prime. Where I stand in that is, which one do I choose? Well, I actually am going to take off the RAV4 Prime off the list just because I don't want to wait 3 years to get my vehicle, which is in my area is basically what people are being told. It's like a 3-year wait for a RAV4 Prime. So that's not going to make it on the list. What separates this vehicle from the Kia Sportage or the Hyundai Tucson? You know what? I like the comfort and the handling of this vehicle, and the fact that this is a very minimal but functional interior. I don't have 100 buttons everywhere, and everything that I need is there, easily, readily available for me to drive and for me to function with. So that combined with the really good handling that we're used to seeing from Ford, I'm leaning into this Ford Escape. I'm actually going a step beyond because we had the Lincoln Corsair last week. And that's why I do a lot of comparisons with that vehicle, is because we just had that last week. And I would choose this vehicle over that. This vehicle does not have all-wheel drive, and that is where it's going to lose people, especially here in Canada, especially here up north. So that's where the Kia gets the advantage. The Kia or the Hyundai, same thing. They get the advantage over the Ford, is that they have all-wheel drive. But the minute Ford puts all-wheel drive available in this vehicle while keeping the price, of course, this makes this vehicle a winner, an absolute winner, if I was to get just these two things. In the meanwhile, if you don't need all-wheel drive and you're looking for something that's a crossover with, you know, plenty of cargo capacity and some good room, well, this is a very good pick for you. And I actually enjoyed this vehicle more so than I did with the Corsair, because the Corsair had a pretty hefty price on it. So I'm gonna go back to the price for Canada if I'm including destination fees, which is like $2,000. This is a $55,000 vehicle. This is definitely acceptable in today's highly inflated price range. Don't even get me started. So yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up. Like what I like is fuel economy, handling, comfort. And what I don't like, my dislikes, is the heads-up display. Maybe some of the cheap cargo like platform that they have back there, and the fact that the software keeps going back to normal even though I've selected Echo. So you can see that the cons are pretty small in comparison, and that the pros probably outweigh them. You guys be the judge. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this vehicle, how you feel about this review. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you actually enjoyed watching this. My name is Patrick, and I'll see you guys later.